Hello everybody, this is my monthly update video letting you know everything that I was up to in the month of March. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing really well. March was an alright month. I didn't make too many videos, just my normal update video and then a what to play on Game Pass, which I haven't made one of those for a while. But there were a bunch of new interesting games added to it recently, and I thought people might want some recommendations. I know not everyone that watches me has Game Pass or an Xbox, but all of these games are playable other places as well, so you can still watch them even if you don't have Game Pass for recommendations of games that I've played and enjoyed, if you're interested. Other than that, there was a few podcasts, Point and Drink as usual. Michelle and I put out an episode where we talked about just a ton of movies. I think we must have talked about like 10 or 12 different movies over the course of the episode while we had some cocktails. For the next Point and Drink, you can look forward to an in-person episode. Michelle's coming to visit me this weekend. Or maybe by the time this goes up, she will already have visited me, possibly. So yeah, we'll be recording an in-person episode for, in the next couple weeks. I also got to be a guest on the Drunk Friend podcast. This is a podcast that is on the same podcast network as Point and Drink Adventure, the Polymedia Network. And Drunk Friend is hosted by Alex from SNES Drunk and Travis from NES Friend. Both great channels if you are into the NES or the Super Nintendo as far as games go. It was a really funny episode. I had a lot of fun recording it. We took a bunch of listener questions, talked about video game music for specific situations. We also went over some strange comments that we get, and those were pretty funny. I know I need to make another mean comments video sometime, but we got to go over a few of them on that podcast. So also go check that out if that sounds fun. Lily, come up here, please. I'm really trying to get Lily up on the couch to take part, but her head is just right here on the couch. Maybe later. The last update is something I took part in, partially in December and partially just recently. My friend Miles from the channel Trading Cards made an episode of Taskmaster. If you're not aware, Taskmaster is like a comedy panel game show. I think it started out in the UK, but there's also like a New Zealand version. I think there's a few versions. So we recorded an episode of Taskmaster. I got to be a contestant on that, doing a bunch of tasks, and then everyone getting together in person to sort of go through them.
Brush your teeth, because your gums stink and they're making me sad.
Study time is over, dude.
I think I might have put too much. Here we go.
As long as this is pink, then everything is going according to plan.
And I don't even know who I'm insulting. Could be people I've never met, and then I'm just like a rude girl.
Well, when you can't get clever, what do?
Just get mean.
Just get mean. That's what they say. I could fake Elvis. Maybe people would start thinking he wasn't dead.
It was so much fun to be a part of, and it was really fun to get to see how everyone else tackled the tasks and interact with the Taskmaster. It was silly. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out on the Trading Cards channel. I'll include a link to it in the description. Before I continue, here's a brief word from this video sponsor. This part of the video is sponsored by HelloFresh. Do you often find yourself stuck on the question of what to have for dinner? HelloFresh can help you ditch the meal planning blues and offer you a menu of more than 45 recipes, plus extra market items that support your lifestyle. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit and can help you save money, eat better, and stress less. Get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and chef-crafted recipes delivered right to your door to help make mealtime simple. And after a delicious meal, it's always nice to have a sweet treat. HelloFresh is giving new subscribers free dessert for life. You can enjoy a free dessert item with every HelloFresh delivery as long as your subscription is active. I really like HelloFresh's lineup of quick and easy meals, including 20-minute recipes that can help me save time I could be using for other things, while keeping me well-fed. These recipes satisfy and fuel me whether I'm going rock climbing or staying home and playing co-op video games. Click the link in the description or use my code and get 16 free meals plus free dessert for life while your subscription is active. I do have a shout out for this month, and that is Soulsborne Seeker. Soulsborne Seeker is a channel that focuses on Metroidvania, Souls-like, and roguelike reviews. I'd say more Metroidvanias than the other two, with a focus on more indie and obscure games.
We begin our journey with Divine Guardian V Than, an action-adventure Metroidvania title that draws heavy inspiration from Vietnamese mythology and folklore. The game transpires in a world that used to be under the divine protection of the gods, who kept humans shielded from the demons and malicious spirits that would otherwise prey upon them.
Every month, there's usually at least a couple comprehensive reviews of games, or maybe a game preview, and there's also a really great series about upcoming Metroidvanias that you may not have heard of yet, because they are indie games who haven't gotten that much marketing. I really like these videos. They are to the point, they're very informative, they go over everything you need to know about a game. We've reviewed a number of the same games, and I generally find his opinions and mine align pretty well. Sometimes maybe I'm a little more critical. He does beat games way faster than I do, so much faster at beating Metroidvanias. But if you are interested in Metroidvanias in particular and want to get a look at some upcoming ones, then go check out Soulsborne Seeker. Alright, now on to what I've been playing in March. Something that I'm not going to talk about yet, but has been taking up a bunch of my time is Unicorn Overlord. I know I did have an ad for them in my last video. This is not an ad, but I played the demo for that game for almost 6 hours, and I still had time left on it before I decided I was just going to buy the whole game. I was able to just transfer my saves over to the new game, and I've been pretty hooked on that one. So you'll probably hear more about that next month. But as to what I've actually beaten, on stream, I've been playing through the Quest for Glory series, so I finished Quest for Glory 3 a couple weeks ago. This I feel like is a bit of an underrated one in the series. I feel like Quest for Glory is actually underrated in general. It seems like people know a lot of the Quest games, like Police Quest and King's Quest and Space Quest, but less people know Quest for Glory for some reason. So this one, you go to Fricana, and you're helping prevent a war between two people. It turns out there are demons who are influencing things, which isn't a spoiler. They say that pretty much at the beginning. I got to continue on from being a paladin, since I was made a paladin at the end of the second game, and I learned I was very bad at balancing. Very bad balance for a paladin. But it was a really fun game. There's great art. I really like the writing. I really like the setting. And the combat is not my favorite in the Quest for Glory series in general, but it was generally better than it was in the second game, at least. Or even the first game. So yeah, Quest for Glory 3 is a lot of fun. And I have started Quest for Glory 4 Shadows of Darkness, so I will be playing that in April. I also played a game that just absolutely exploded last month, and that is Balatro. Balatro is a poker roguelike game. It functions just like normal poker with the order of hands and everything, except rather than, 5-card draw or hold'em, you get, I think, 8 cards to start, and you have to make your best 5-card hand, up to 5-card hand out of those 8 cards. So you get, more cards than you're used to. You can discard, but in between every round, there is a shop where you can buy jokers that give you multipliers for cards. You can add to your cards, you can change your cards, give them different bonuses and ways, and every hand you just have a score to beat. So each hand you're doing like the small blind, big blind, and then you're fighting a boss, which is just a bigger score that you need to beat. It was fun. It kept me pretty enraptured for about 6 hours. I bought it and I just sat home one Saturday in front of the TV just playing Balatro very addictive. Once I got a win, I kind of started losing interest in the game. I got one win, and then I got another win. You have to beat like 8 rounds to get a win, but then you can continue going in endless mode. I kind of lost interest. You can keep going, like a lot of people I've been seeing are making these absolutely ridiculous hands where the numbers are getting so big they can't even be displayed on screen, which seems fun for them. It's not really fun for me. I've never been a make the numbers go up high kind of player. I don't really chase high scores or things like that. So once I sort of realized the trick to winning a run, my interest in it definitely got just less and less as it went. So I played till I beat it a few times, and then I uninstalled it because it is very, very addictive, but it wasn't something that I was actually having a whole lot of fun with once I already got my few wins or so. There's still lots of stuff, like lots of new cards and jokers and bonuses you can open up. But yeah, if you've got a addictive personality, you might want to skip this one. But if you do like cards and you do like sort of mathy stuff, it can be fun as well if you like to chase high scores. But yeah, I was satisfied with the few hours I put in with it, and then I was just like, okay, I've had enough. The last game my Wednesday co-op group beat is PlateUp. This is something that just got added to Xbox Game Pass a few weeks ago, and this is a cooperative sort of cooking and restaurant sim game. You can play with up to 4 players. It is a roguelike, which at first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but we did end up having fun with it. You start out and you need to pick a floor plan for your kitchen and restaurant. You need to pick a dish which you'll be cooking. It's just one dish, although there can be variations of that dish as you go. Then you set up your restaurant, set up, where the stove is and the counter and all of the dining tables and things like that. And then you just have to cooperate and plan in order to serve customers as you go. The customers are very, very picky, and if you lose at all, like if you serve them the wrong thing, if you don't seat them before their patience runs out, the game is over. So it is quite tough. We did have a lot of trouble at the beginning. Like at the beginning, it felt impossible. We didn't know how we were ever going to make it to 5-star, which is sort of the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning, whatever you want to call it. But as we played over, I think, 3 weeks, and every time we got better, and we made it to 5 stars. And similar to Balatro, that's not the end at all, but we decided that would be the end for us, even though there's still way more content than that. But yeah, PlateUp's really good, kind of stressful, comparable to Overcooked, less silly, less randomness thrown at you, but still a pretty fun, satisfying game that requires a lot of communication between you and your friends. The next thing I played and finished was Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden. This was a game I was really excited about. It is by... I am completely blanking on who it's by. It's by Don't Nod, who made Jusant, who made Life is Strange, who made Vampire, which is a game I love, and the game of theirs that this is most comparable to. Minor spoilers, although if you've watched the trailer or even looked at the cover of the game, shouldn't actually be a spoiler, but you start off and you're playing as a couple and they are banishers. So they go around and they find ghosts who are haunting people, and they banish the ghost because they think death to the dead, life to the living, ghosts don't belong here, they need to be banished or ascended. Just their spirits need to move on. And then one of you dies. And despite what you say about, death to the dead, you are given an option to say like, well, maybe we're different. Maybe I can bring you back to life, which is the decision I made for my game, which I had a feeling everything is telling me this is bad, but I went with it anyway because I wanted my wife back. So you basically go through, it's sort of Massachusetts area in the Puritan times, and you go from town to town, banishing ghosts, and you're also trying to get back to the ghost who killed your wife and get your wife's body back so that you can either send her spirit off or maybe bring her back to life. And I really liked it. I loved the sort of companionship between the two characters. They work together and they fight together, so you can sort of switch between them as you're fighting. They also talk to each other as you're exploring. A lot of the ghost stories were really interesting. They were all very morally gray areas where, you know, so you could have the option of, if a ghost was haunting a human, you could banish the ghost if they were horrible, or you could ascend their spirit, or you could blame the person that they were haunting and kill them as the solution to the problem. And most of the situations, again, were complicated. People were just doing their best in a hard situation, or everybody kind of sucked. Like, nothing was ever very straightforward, so it was always a bit challenging to decide how you wanted to handle each situation. It's got RPG elements, sort of, so you can get extra talents to help you in combat. There is a little bit of a crafting system so that you can upgrade your items that you're using, like your weapons and your armor and things like that. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a bit on the long side. The game didn't track how much I was playing, but I'd say maybe 25 to 30 hours. I was doing a lot of side quests because the side quests were really good, but I also felt like, move it along. Like, you're giving me too many options. It could have been a little bit of a tighter experience, but overall, I really liked the game. I liked the writing and the story, those ghost stories and haunting stories in particular. The combat was fine, like, not great. I ended up turning it onto easy mode, actually, just so that combat didn't take as long, but I liked fighting as the ghost. I didn't like fighting as much as the living person, but combat was just like, it was just fine. It wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. So yeah, Banishers is a very good game, I thought, and I liked my time with it. This is one that I just beat a few days ago. I actually streamed an hour or two of it at some point. I don't even remember when that was now. This is called Home Safety Hotline, and you're basically playing a phone operator, and people are calling about pest control issues, and you need to figure out what pest is causing the problem that they're having so that you can identify it and send along the information about how to deal with this pest. Except, well, it starts with, you know, rats and mice and carpenter ants. Eventually, your basically bestiary of things gets bigger and starts including like fey creatures and like things from legend, little like paranormal kind of folklore-y creatures, some of which are happy and not a danger to the people in the house, and some people who will absolutely murder your children and take over your house. So you get basically a phone call, you have to listen to the information, and you have to identify what's happening. Meanwhile, every day, between every shift, you're like checking your work emails and you're finding things are getting a little strange. So I thought this was a really interesting game. The voice acting of the phone calls is all really good. It's got a sort of just like creepy, spooky vibe without anything outright scary ever happening. But it's really cool, just the description of all of these beasts and what they do, how you deal with them, what will happen if you don't deal with them the correct way. I had a really good time playing this. It was on the shorter side. I think I played it for maybe just under 3 hours, and I did have to redo one day because I got too many things wrong. But it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a very clever game that I haven't really seen too much like before. And lastly, this is kind of on the retired list, though I put in a decent amount of time with it. I was actually looking for a roguelike after I finished or put aside Balatro, and so I decided to play Neon Abyss, which is available on Game Pass. This is a twin stick shooter, like a 2D platformer, but with twin stick shooting, which I liked. find that most of those platformy games don't have ranged attacks, they have melee attacks, so I like this. You're basically going down into a dungeon, randomly generated, you're collecting coins, you're getting keys so you can open certain doors, you can get certain bonuses, you can buy new weapons depending on the things you find, and then you fight a boss and you go on to the next level. Just your basic roguelike experience. I really liked the gameplay in these, all the different weapons. You can get these little eggs and they hatch and they give you little sprites that give you different bonuses, which I thought was a really cute thing. I liked it a lot. I played for, I don't know, a good amount of hours. I did find that the writing in the game was pretty obnoxious, so I didn't really like reading the story or what was going on. But it was fun to play. I beat, I think, 4 bosses, and then it gets to a point where you have to beat the cursed version of all the bosses. And this may be a function of me not reading anything in the game, but I couldn't find any of the cursed bosses. I'd go into the dungeon and it seemed like you either had to do really specific things, or maybe it was just luck that would end your run with one of those bosses. But that just kind of seemed annoying to me, and I felt like I didn't need to do that. I was happy with the amount of time I got in the game, so I gave up on Neon Abyss. I do like it. I'm kind of sad that I never really got the ending, but I enjoyed my time. All right, so that is it for my March update. Leave me a comment, let me know what you've been playing, if you have any games you want to recommend to me, if you've gotten any pickups. I had no pickups again, but yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Why won't you come on the couch? Why won't you sit on the couch with me? Right here. Sit on the couch with me. No? Look, we're filming. We're filming right now. Sit on the couch. Not interested. If you want to see more, check out one of my other videos here. Don't forget to go subscribe to Soulsborne Seeker and take a look at the Taskmaster video. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.